The Cretan Runner by George Psychoundakis. I'm doing my best with that name. I hope I'm getting it close. This is a Folio Society edition. It comes with this green slipcover. And it's bound in cloth, maybe buckram. I always do this. Full cloth. Printed with a design by Neil Gower. There aren't any illustrations throughout this book because there are instead photos, because this is a true story, an autobiographical story. That covers the author's time as a guide, really I suppose a guide, an informant, and an agent working for the Cretans and also for the British in World War II after the German invasion of Crete. So he tells his story about, I suppose that's him, don't actually remember. He tells his story about his time doing that, his time hiding people, helping people find the stuff that the British airdrop, but also, leading people around when they're maybe a British soldier isn't able to get out or to get in, and he would help lead them to from family to family or place to place to get them into some hideout up in the hills, which were very difficult for the Germans to do anything with. There were these hills and little caves and homes, all of which were not very, there he is as an older man. All of those areas were not very hospitable to the Germans. So he and many others like him risked their lives to do what they could until the Germans were finally beaten back and out of Crete. So it's an interesting story and well told. He's got his own voice. He's not I was going to say he's not a polished writer. That's not exactly what I mean to say. I just mean he's got the voice of a person who was actually there and is telling the story, rather than the voice of a person who, was raised as a writer. Some of it is sad because, in fact, there were people who died. Particularly, I remember I don't want to give anything too much away, but they had different British people there who were directing them, and they had radio operators, and the radio operators were in a more precarious position because they had all their radio equipment. In any case, here it is. Interesting time and place. I wouldn't have known anything about the Cretan resistance until I read this book, The Cretan Runner by George. Maybe someone can help me out with that. I would say Psychoundakis, Folio Society edition.